Hey everyone! Today I am playing Guild Wars. This is a 2005 MMORPG that has not had an expansion since 2007, and I'm playing it because that's what I've been playing in my free time lately, and so it's what's catching my interest. And this game actually holds up remarkably well. So, today I am farming this weapon, Rocktail's Stinger. This is a very solid all-purpose sword, and I think the skin looks pretty cool, so it seems worth the effort. If you don't want this sword, this farm is not for you because you only kill one enemy and it takes a few minutes, so there are much better options. Anyway, basically we will be killing a single boss who drops this weapon some amount of the time. We're doing it in hard mode because it's really not that much more difficult, and then there's a chance of getting elite warrior tomes or lockpicks or things like that. So, on to what we're actually doing to achieve this. We have all Windwalker's insignias on my armor. These give a bunch of extra armor when I'm enchanted. It doesn't really matter in this farm because ideally you just don't get hit very much, but Windwalker insignias are a must-have for any Dervish build, so I highly recommend them. As far as the runes, we have Minor of Mysticism and Scythe Mastery, and we have one Vitae and one Superior Vigor for extra health, and finally a Superior Wind Prayers. This is the only one that's like 10,000% necessary because we really need it to deal enough damage and keep ourselves sustained up. For my weapon, I'm using Asterius' Scythe. Any Zealous Scythe with the enchantment duration will do, but this is kind of my all-purpose energy management scythe, so I just kind of used it. It should work fine. So, onto the build, which I will link in the comments. Basically, I am running 10 Scythe Mastery, 11 Wind Prayers, and 10 Mysticism, plus the runes gives us these numbers. This lets us do enough damage and keep ourselves alive. So the first skill, and the most important one, is Sneak Attack. This is a relatively cheap, low cooldown melee attack that inflicts blindness for significantly longer than the duration of the blind than the cooldown. That's what I meant. So basically, since we're only fighting one melee enemy, we can keep him blind the whole time. He's very unlikely to hit us, and you can just kind of gradually wear your way through him. Next, we have Death's Charge. You use this exactly once, but it's very important. I will explain why when we get to that. We have Grenth's Aura and Avatar of Grenth. Both of these, what they do is effectively add an additional effect onto our auto attack so that we steal health when we hit. This both keeps us alive, and it's important to note that this is a level 30 Devourer boss. He has a lot of health and a lot of armor, so trying to actually deal enough damage to kill him is extremely difficult. But these get around that because Lifesteal doesn't care about armor, so no matter how tanky he gets, we can just keep wearing our way through him. Next up, we have Heart of Holy Flame. This lets us inflict Burning, another condition that gets around armor. Oh, and Avatar of Grenth also inflicts a condition that gets around it, so we're keeping his health degenerating pretty fast the whole time. And now we have Pious Fury. This removes an enchantment, so it lets us trigger the burning on Heart of Holy Flame, and also makes us attack faster. So more Grenth's Aura, more Avatar of Grenth, more mana from our Asterius Scythe. Just generally awesome. Finally, these are the sort of flex slots, but I think they're the best options. I played around with a bunch of stuff, and these have been by far the best. Zealous Renewal is good energy management. With enough mysticism, your enchantments like Heart of Holy Flame and Grenth's Aura don't really cost that much, but you still can run low when you're spamming stuff a bit, so this is really nice to have. And finally, Twin Moon Sweep. This is a really cool option. Dervishes have a lot of ways to remove enchantments from themselves, but one, it doesn't cost any energy, so you don't have to worry about that inhibiting your ability to do other things. It gains a whole bunch of life back, so we can heal up and hopefully not have to worry about dying. And finally, it involves 2 attacks, so double Grenth's Aura, double Avatar of Grenth, double energy from Zealous Renewal and Asterius' Scythe. So with this, basically you can keep yourself very healthy and also keep your mana up and wear him down in not a horribly long period of time. So once you actually get in position, killing him is really not that unpleasant. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and head into the zone now and walk you through the process, because getting to him is a little bit involved. Alright, here we are in Dalida Uplands. So the first thing to take note of when you get here is whether or not a guy named Vale spawns. He can be a little irritating because he tends to aggro other enemies and get you both killed, but as long as you're careful with your routing, you can keep both of you safe, and he actually makes the boss easier, so it's really not a big deal. But if he's too annoying for you, you can just respawn and he probably won't show up again. So I come over and I cross this stone bridge that you see immediately, and now I'm going to make my way into the forest. This is the trickiest part until you kind of get down how to do it. Basically, these mantids love to move around in ways that take up a ton of space. You can see how spread out they are, and they will get much worse than that. And if you aggro any one of them, you're basically just dead. So, yeah, you don't want that. So I was trying to see if they would let me through there. The patrol was uncooperative. And what I would basically say here is you have to be willing to improvise and just kind of run to places that seem opportune at the time, because there are a bunch of different ways for them to spawn, and their patrols and the way they spread out are relatively random, so there's no one route that's going to get you through every time. The most convenient way I've seen is to kind of edge around that and then come around this rock here, and then this is the most problematic group. There's this little pack here with a boss called Horai Wingshielder. Sometimes they just kind of mill around over there, but often they'll go through here and kind of cut off that route that I was originally going for. So if we wait for them to pass, I can slip between them and this other group and get where I wanted to go. So the goal here is to get to the edge of this forest so we can get to this res shrine right over here. The res shrine is not actually particularly useful in itself. It's just a point of reference, but there's a bunch of weird, finicky places that you need to stand to make this work, and so having reference points is really nice. We're going to wait for these char to go by because they are big fat jerks. There's a couple points in here in which a char patrol can potentially mess up your run, but if you're careful and don't engage prematurely, you can avoid them pretty effectively. Oop, almost aggroed them there. That would have been bad. So now I'm going to go out this way, almost due south. I'm heading for a specific point on the map that I will point out when we get there. Yeah, so you see this green tree, also shown by this splotch on the map. We're going to come out here and stand right next to that. So now we can see Molotov Rocktail, the boss that we're trying to kill. The reason I didn't go directly to him, like in this line, is because he has a couple hidden allies that will spawn if you go that way, and so we're trying to avoid that. So now that we're at this tree, I'm going to activate Avatar of Grenth. It lasts a really long time, so you don't need to worry about it going away, even though pulling him can be a little tedious. And now once you see you defeat Molotov Rocktail, that means he is aggroed to you. Normally an enemy needs to be in this thing to aggro, but he is an exception because he is a Siege Devourer, which means that he has a skill named Devourer Siege. Oop, almost got myself killed there. But what that means is that at a certain range, which he is frighteningly close to right now, he will throw a couple bombs at you that if they hit you, you're basically just dead. There's like no way to avoid that. Wow. So I almost got myself killed, avoided it, and now I actually just need to let him go because this other patrol has decided that they're going to walk right through where I wanted to fight him at, and if you let that happen, you will die. Okay. Charv passed. On the road. It really didn't take that long, but I didn't have anything interesting to say there. So again, he goes back to exactly where he was. We're going to come back to the tree because those hidden devourers are still there and they will still mess us up. So none of that. Avatar of Grenth, run in. We won't get another notification, but you can tell when he turns around and starts walking towards you. So hopefully that's clue enough. I should explain exactly what I'm doing here. I'm doing a mix of walking backwards, where you will notice we walk very slowly, and so he catches up on us pretty effectively, and sort of running to the side or even directly running away, because, as you can see, he uses Enraging Charge and gets real fast, and if he catches up to us enough to get to a certain distance, he will use his Devourer Siege, and you will get blown up, and that's bad news. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get him as close to this Resurrection Shrine as possible, which is sort of a game of cat and mouse. You want to keep him close enough that he keeps walking towards you, but far enough away that he doesn't use Devourer Siege on you and kill you. And we're just about close enough, but... Okay, so what I did was I jumped in on him and immediately blinded him. Then the next thing you want to do is get up Brent's aura. This is because that's most of your damage and most of your sustain, so you don't really function without it. The next most important thing to do is just keep up your stuff. Always be sure that you're getting down sneak attack whenever you can. If you let him stop being blind, he will kill you really fast. And then, basically I'm just managing a mixture of, I always want to keep Pious Fury and Grunth's aura going. I want those, I want to do these other ones as I need mana or health respectively. You can see he hit me with a skill, so I was able to steal some health back. And then, whenever you get the chance, use Heart of the Holy Flame to keep the burning and disease up. This is not that slow, but also not that fast, so I apologize for this taking a sec. I use essentially a completely arbitrary mixture of clicking on things and using keys, so also apologies for that if it's hard to follow exactly what I'm doing. Sort of make it up as I go along. I also even messed it up there, but you can see that it did not take that long to kill him. And since we're on hard mode, in addition to his unique items, sometimes you get lockpicks or elite warrior tomes or whatever, but mostly only do this if you want this sword. So that was not absolutely amazing execution at the end, but if anything, that just shows that as long as you're careful to keep him blind and heal up when you need it, it's really not that hard to kill this boss by yourself. So if you have a Dervish and you still play Guild Wars and you want to farm exactly that sword, then I hope this video was helpful to you. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.